Today, we're going to tell you a story about Brazil's huge savanna, the Cerrado, and it's a story about some really unlikely heroes who are working to save it not from the top down, but literally from the ground up. This is all about farmers who are actually cultivating entire forests.
You might think a story like this starts with a bunch of complicated data or some big government policy, but it doesn't. It starts with something much more basic, much more human, a really deep personal connection to the land. As one farmer, Antonio Borges, says, his work came from a simple gift, just finding trees beautiful and loving them. So to really understand what these farmers are fighting for, we first have to get a feel for the place they call home. We need to talk about the Cerrado, which you can really think of as the vital, beating heart of Brazil. Now, when you hear savanna, you might picture just a lot of dry grassland. But the Cerrado is something else entirely. It is the single most biodiverse savanna on the whole planet. And its importance is massive. This incredible natural treasure is the source of water for 5 of Brazil's major river basins. It's literally the nation's wellspring. But this vital heart is in really bad shape. By 2008, almost half, 47.8% of its native vegetation was already gone. Think about that. Nearly half. This isn't just some slow decline, it's a full-blown crisis.
So what's causing all this destruction?
Well, the main culprits are the big forces of modern industrial agriculture. Huge areas have been turned into pastures for cattle ranching or cleared for massive grain crops like soy. And it's all powered by the rise of these highly mechanized megafarms that have just completely changed the landscape.
All of this destruction brings up a really important question. Kind of a paradox, really. With so much talk about conservation, why has it been so incredibly hard to bring back what's been lost in the Cerrado?
And here's the core of the problem. You see, the standard way of doing restoration often relies on these high-tech, expensive solutions that require specialized engineers. But for the small farmers who actually live and work on the land, this approach is, well, it's out of reach. It's too expensive, and it feels totally disconnected from their own knowledge. It ends up creating dependency, not empowerment.
But what if the best solutions weren't being dreamed up in a lab somewhere? What if the answers were already there, literally sprouting from the earth, just waiting for someone to pay attention?
And this is where we meet the real heroes of our story, the agricultores pesquisadores, which means farmer researchers. These are the men and women all across the Cerrado who are creating their own low-cost, super effective techniques to bring the forest back, all based on careful observation and the wisdom that's been passed down for generations.
Okay, so how are they doing it? Let's take a look at 3 of their most brilliant and practical methods for breathing life back into the land. All right, first up, we have a farmer named Renelton Barros. He was trying to solve a problem with the valuable bacuri fruit tree, which is really hard to grow from a seed. But he noticed that new shoots would often just sprout from the roots of the big, mature trees. So he developed this incredible technique you see here. He'd find a new shoot, dig down to its root, and then take small cuttings to plant. And the result? New trees that start producing fruit in just 5 to 8 years. That's a tiny fraction of the time it would normally take. Next, there's a technique used by another farmer, Amandio Miccolino. It's a word you might not have heard before. Muvuca. And instead of planting single seedlings one by one, Muvuca is all about sowing a really dense, diverse mix of native tree seeds and other fertilizing plants right onto the land. It's like giving nature a huge head start. And when I say dense, I really mean it. A standard method might use 1, maybe 2 seeds per square meter. With Muvuca, they're using a mix of up to 30 different seeds in that same little space. The whole idea is to copy how a real forest would grow back on its own, creating a bit of healthy competition right from the start. Amandio's own explanation for why it works is just so perfectly simple. He says, the trees being together grow upwards. See, that density forces all the young saplings to compete for sunlight, which makes them grow straight and tall. And that quickly creates a new canopy that shades out the weeds and starts to build a real forest. This right here is a huge challenge for any farmer. You need to restore the land for the future, sure, but you also need to feed your family and make a living right now. And that leads us to what might just be the most brilliant system of them all. It's called the Casadone. This is an agroforestry system that doesn't treat farming and forestry like two separate things. From day one, it weaves everything together. You've got your annual food crops like corn and beans planted right alongside a whole mix of fruit trees and timber trees, plus other plants to keep the soil healthy, and they even leave empty spaces for nature to just do its thing and fill in the gaps. A farmer named João Bode Moura has the most wonderful way of describing it. He says the Casadon is like a party. It's a salad. There's everyone there. And it's just the perfect way to put it. It's a celebration of diversity where all the different plants work together to create this rich, productive, and strong ecosystem. You know, these incredible techniques, they're about so much more than just putting trees in the ground. They really represent a huge shift in how we think about conservation and farming and our whole relationship with the world around us. And the reasons these farmers do what they do are just as diverse as their methods. Of course, the practical need for income is a big part of it. But so is a real desire for conservation, to protect the water, to protect the soil, and woven through all of that are these powerful personal motivations, a love for the sheer beauty of nature, and that simple, profound gift for planting. At the end of the day, this is a story of empowerment. It's about recognizing and valuing the deep, practical wisdom that local communities have. It proves that the knowledge we need to heal our planet often isn't with some outside expert, but with the very people who know the land best. It's proof that a better future can be built, quite literally, from the ground up. And all of this leaves us with a really powerful question, one that was posed by the researchers who documented these incredible stories. In a world that's always looking for the next complex, high-tech solution, have we forgotten something essential? Why did we stop, and why did we forget how to just simply plant a tree?